डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Hello friends, learners of Indian poetics, organized by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. It is a certificate course for Indian poetics. I had earlier told you that the concept of open university is highly important in modern time. Learning is a lifelong process. Nobody can say that I am a student for, say, up to MA, PhD, and so on. Not that. Actually, learning is a process that takes time, any time during your life. You can learn even on the last moment of your life. Learning process is an eternal process, perpetual process, endless process, and that should continue throughout the life. I had earlier told you also that in our ashram system, when two students met, they always asked, "What did you learn? How did you spend your night last night?" This means that even during the night, even during the day, you learn something. And learning can be achieved from all sources. So I welcome you to Indian Poetic Certificate course, and today's topic is Shabda, Shabda Shakti and Arth in Indian poetics. Now the word is very important in Indian poetics. Not only that, word, Shabda, is eternal. It has wonderful power. Today, through communication, through expression, we live in this world successfully. Of course, even among animals and birds, there is communication. But human communication is wonderful, and it is based on word, based on Shabda. It is very interesting to know that in India, the concept of word, the concept of Shabda is highly important. Shabda means speech sound. When you speak something, there is a word, and the word presents some meaning, some idea, some expression, some suggestion, and that is why word, Shabda, is highly important in Indian poetics. Probably you know that Shabda is called Brahma, Shabda Brahma. When you pronounce Om, the word Om is considered as highly spiritual. In our country, we have a system called mantra. And in mantra system, there are words which have great impact on human heart, on human mind, and the entire universe resounds with words. So, Shabda means speech, sound, and Artha means meaning. A word has a meaning, and a meaning can be expressed through words. As I told you, in Indian tradition, Shabda is called Brahma, Shabda Brahma. Shiva Parvati symbolize Shabda and Artha. Shiva, Lord Shiva, and Adya Shakti Parvati are like Shabda and Artha, or Shabda and Artha are like Shiva Parvati. They are inseparable couple. You cannot separate them. They are one. Though they are two, they are like Advaita. Though they are Dvaita, they have the quality of Advaita. And in Indian philosophy, this concept of Dvaita and Advaita is very important. So we must understand that Shabda is not just an ordinary expression. It is like Lord Shiva, a very powerful entity, and that is why when we speak a word, earth is expressed, and earth can be expressed through Shabda only. In Indian religions, Om is a vibrating sound. When we speak Om, it affects not only the heart and the mind of the speaker, but it also affects the listeners, the entire environment, and that is why Om is a vibrating sound. And in all Indian religions, whether it is Hinduism, Buddhism, or Jainism, almost in all religions, the mantras start with Om. When we pray to any god, we start with Om. So Om is a vibrating sound which has very powerful entity, very powerful expression. Patanjali, who was a great yoga guru, said that Shabda has element of spota, explosion. Patanjali was a great exponent of yoga, and he said that Shabda has an element of spota, and spot means explosion, blast. When we speak any sound, when we speak any word, there is a sound. This sound is like a blast, like explosion. And power of words, that is Shabda Shakti, plays major role in Sahitya and poetry. And we all know that power of words, Shabda Shakti, is very important in Sahitya and poetry. Actually, Shabda Srushti, Shabda Shakti is important in Shabda Srushti. In the entire world, there are shabdas that resound, echo, and the entire world is full of words, and words have such a power that they are useful in sahitya, poetry, speech, oratory, and so on. So power of words is called Shabda Shakti in Indian poetics, and it plays major role. Words have such a power that when a good speaker speaks, the minds and the hearts of the listeners are impacted, sometimes permanently. It changes your heart, it may change your mind, and it may impact your personality. Now, if we talk about Indian poetics, we must remember Bharata Muni, who can be called the first exponent of Indian poetics. He was a pioneer, and his work, his famous work Natya Shastra, focuses on drama. The word Natya Shastra is the science of drama, theory of drama. Actually, if you read Natya Shastra, you understand that though Bharat Muni focuses on drama, he also focuses on the main idea of rasa, which can be presented in drama, in poetry, in dance, in music, and so on. So in Indian poetics, the major concept is that of rasa. If we want to compare Bharat Muni with Aristotle, Aristotle also wrote a book called Poetics, and Bharat Muni wrote a book called Natya Shastra. Aristotle's Poetics also focuses on tragedy mainly. Tragedy is also drama. But the major difference between Bharat Muni and Aristotle is the theory of rasa by Bharat Muni and Aristotle's concept of plot, characters, some tragic flaw that happens that causes the downfall of the hero and which creates purgation, catharsis in the mind of the speakers, in the mind of the listeners and spectators. When you watch a drama, you experience various kinds of rasas, and this rasanubhav, the experience of rasa, is highly psychological concept, and this concept was propagated by Bharat Muni. Aristotle, in his Poetics, discusses tragedy, and he says that tragedy is a story in which there is a character, the main character, the hero, who has many good qualities, but he also has a flaw, tragic flaw, a shortcoming. And this shortcoming, this flaw, which is called hamartia in Greek, and this causes the downfall, the catastrophe of the hero. And we experience as spectators, we experience the emotions of pity and fear when we watch tragedy. And Aristotle wants to say that when you watch tragedy, you experience the feelings of pity and fear. Fear and pity are negative things if they are not properly purgated. So the concept of catharsis, which is connected with purification, with purgation, creates a kind of sthai bhav, an idea, a feeling of happiness and wisdom. So, if we compare Aristotle with Bharata Muni, we may find certain similarities and of course certain differences as well. But both of them, Bharata Muni and Aristotle, focused mainly on drama. Aristotle focused on tragedy and Bharata Muni focused on drama in general, which contains many categories. Bharata Muni in his book Natya Shastra did not discuss poetry. He focused on drama, Natya only. Great poeticians and theorists of India are Bharata Muni, Bamaha and Dandin. Bharata Muni wrote Natya Shastra, Bamaha wrote Kavya Alankara, and Dandin wrote Kavyadarsa. So these three books, three works written by Bharata Muni, by Bamaha and Dandin are very important in Indian Natya Shastra. Poetics were written in Sutra and Karikas. They are the verses in which poetics were written. Bharat, Bamaha, Rudrat, Dandin, Udbhat wrote their books in sutras. Sutras are like small couplets which has certain idea presented in a very precise way, very terse manner, which is called sutra, like a maxim, axiom, like in English literature we have a famous essayist called Francis Bacon. Bacon's essays are full of maxims, full of terse ideas, which are like sutras. Bharata Muni, Bamaha, Rudrat, Dandin and Udbhat wrote their books in sutras. Kuntak, Anandavardhan and Mammat wrote their works in Karika. Karika means crisp verses or couplets with explanations in prose. The difference between Sutra and Karika is, like Sutra, Karika has also crisp verse or couplet. Couplet means two lines. As in Gujarati we have Doha or any two lines with rhymes, very often. And in Karika, there is a couplet with explanation in prose, but then it is explained in prose. Elements of poetics are Kavya Swarupa, causes of poetry, purpose of poetry, various classes of poetry, Shabda Shakti, Dhvani Kavya, Gunibhut Vangmai Kavya, Rasa, Gunas, Riti, Alankar, Dosha, nature of poetry, Natya Vidhana, dramaturgy. Now you can see that these are the elements of Indian poetics. Kavya Swarupa, the nature of poetry, causes of poetry. What causes poetry? Purposes of poetry, Kavya Hetu, various classes of poetry, types of poetry, Shabda Shakti, as we discussed, Dhvani Kavya, suggestive poetry, Gunibhut Vangmai Kavya, suggested is secondary to primary meaning. Primary meaning is the direct meaning and suggested meaning is secondary meaning. Rasa, which is a great theory propagated by Bharat Muni, which is the emotive content, the content that is connected with feelings, with emotions. Gunas, they are excellences. Riti is style or diction. Alankar means figures of speech. Dosha means blemishes, shortcomings, demerits. Nature of poetry. What kind of poetry? What is the nature of poetry? It discusses the nature of poetry. Natya Vidhana, dramaturgy. Dramaturgy is the science of what and how drama can be performed. Dramaturgy focuses not on the drama but on the performance of the drama, and that is why it is called dramaturgy. Kavya is a verbal composition that conveys a definite sense. And what is Kavya? Kavya is a verbal composition which conveys a particular sense. Kavya has emotions, thoughts, and poetic expressions. These are the three important things in Kavya, in poetry. The first, emotions, feelings, bhavas, and the second means thoughts, ideas, views, motives, themes, and so on. And the third is poetic expression. How it is expressed? It is expressed in a poetic manner, in a rhythmical expression. So this is very important. Shabda in Indian poetics. Now, as we already discussed, Shabda, it is an element of spot, explosion, which is the part of poetry. In poetry, when words are expressed, they are like spot, blast. And this blast, explosion, is an element that creates poetry. In poetry, we always need an explosion, which is the part of Shabda, and as Patanjali says that every word has an explosion, and this explosion, when a word is spoken, it creates a kind of impact like a blast. Language grows with thought and thought grows with language. We must understand this, that thoughts can be expressed through language only. And without language, there is no possibility of communication of thoughts. Even thinking takes place through words, through language. When you think about something, you don't think abstractly. There is a concrete thought that comes in your mind and gives you thoughts. Without thoughts, there is no possibility of language, and without language, there is no possibility of thoughts. There is a harmonious blending of Shabda and Artha which creates poetry. How is poetry created? Poetry is created in a harmonious blending, the combination of Shabda and Artha. Words are like makeup. Meaning is like life breath. And external form is like structure. These three things are very important. Words create a structure, and meaning creates life breath. The life breath is the meaning, and external form, what you see in literature, in poetry, is the external structure. For example, when you read a sonnet, there is a structure. When you read a couplet, there is a structure. When you read an ode, there is a structure. This structure is an external form, but the internal things are words and meaning. Kavya involves three aspects. In Kavya, there are three aspects. Number one is creative inspiration. Pratibha. Kavya can be generated through pratibha only, through creative inspiration only. Without creative inspiration, there is no possibility of Kavya. Form is created by words, and earth creates aesthetic delight. Now these three things are very important in Kavya. Definition and meaning of Shabda. Shabda means word, speech sound, or expression of meanings. Shabda produces intended meaning. When we speak any word, we have an intention of presenting some meaning. Poetic beauty is created by harmonious blending of Shabda and Artha. Poetic beauty is created only by harmonious combination of Shabda and Artha. In words, there are threefold functions. First is Abhida, number two is Lakshana, and number three, Vyanjana. Abhida means direct meaning, denotation, primary meaning. We have discussed this earlier also, but here it is about Shabda. When we speak a word, it presents direct meaning. For example, when we say computer, we understand what computer is. We have a direct meaning of computer, which is comprehended by the listener. Lakshana is indicative meaning. Lakshana is a different meaning which creates a kind of indication. Vyanjana is a suggestive meaning. Vyanjana is poetical, suggestive meaning. To give you a simple example, when we speak the word Purusha, we mean man or male. This is the Abhida. when you speak the word male or man or Purusha, we have the idea of Purusha in our mind. This is the primary meaning. Lakshana is desired meaning, and in Lakshana there is a indication, there is a kind of desire. For example, when we use the word man, sometimes it indicates husband. For example, if a woman says, "He is my man," this means that he is my husband. This is Lakshana. Here the meaning is not simply as male but as a husband. And Vyanjana is very important. It is poetic. It presents suggested meaning. And the suggested meaning is when the word man is presented, it suggests brave masculine hero as man. A true man, a true Purusha is brave and masculine. And that is why even today when we use the word Purusha, we present him as a brave person. If you know, we use the word Lokhandi Purush for Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Why Lokhandi Purush? It is a suggestive meaning, which is very important. Of course, these topics are different. The second feature of Shabda is Lakshana. Lakshana uses conventional usage called Rudhi, and that is why it is called Rudhi Lakshana. Lakshana is a conventional usage which is called Rudhi. Rudhi is idiomatic. In Gujarati or in Hindi and so on, we find that there are Rudhi Prayoga. When we use certain words, they have a different meaning. And different meanings have idiomatic usages, which is called Rudhi Lakshana. Grammarians focused more on Lakshana, calling it Lakshana Vritti. And the grammarians focused more on Lakshana and they called it Lakshana Vritti. Vyanjana is the potential power of word in Kavya. The most important thing is Vyanjana in literature. Vyanjana has a great power which creates poetry, which creates Kavya. Literal sense is the body of Kavya, whereas Vyanjana is the essence of poetry. The literal words, literal meaning is the body of Kavya. But Vyanjana is the soul, the essence of poetry. Here, suggestive meaning dominates literal meaning. And in poetry, when Vyanjana is used, it dominates the literal meaning. The literal meaning is not important in poetry, but suggestive meaning dominates the literal meaning. Literal meaning is like the body of a woman, and suggested meaning is like woman's grace, beauty, and womanhood. Suggested meaning can be understood by sensitive and imaginative person, and suggestive meaning is like the beauty of a woman, and literal meaning is like the body of the woman. But beauty is more important. Body is physical, literal, but suggested meaning is like the beauty which is grace and womanhood. and it expresses, it presents the inner quality of a woman. Suggested meaning can be understood not by all, but by sensitive and imaginative person. In Indian poetics, there is a concept of Sahradaya. Sahradaya means one who has a sensitive heart. Only a person with sensitive heart, a true bhavak who understands Rasikajana, can understand poetry. So with this, we finish our video lecture on Shabda, Shabda Shakti and Artha. Shabda Shakti is very important in human life, in human world, and that is why we should focus more on better language, better words and better speech. Thank you very much. Thank you.
स्वाध्यायः